The Haney versus Regis 50K lie. Where did it come from? Let's talk about it.
Push the weight in no flex. Flex alive is one in the six. Fit the runner boy, you nigga, no question. You ain't run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Well, this didn't take long. The disgusting human being that you see here in this picture, his name is Rick Glaser. I've mentioned him on many occasions. I would say he's an interesting man, but I deem him as typical. Based off of his track record, he's very jealous of successful people in the business, mainly people of African American descent. He's very controversial, and he does that to push whatever his brand is. So he forces a narrative which is anti what the majority will deem as successful. What do I mean by that? Quick story. My first interaction with Rick Glaser was on Facebook back in like 2014, 2015-ish. As a part of this god-awful boxing Facebook group. I was just getting my feet wet in social media. I didn't understand that that a lot of people are like they're maniacs on there. There are a lot of good people on there. You know, it's called social media. You're supposed to get on there and make friends, but then you find out that a lot of the people you will be associating with, you find out the hard way the second that you have a disagreement, that these are people that if you had met them face to face in the first place, you more than likely wouldn't have developed any kind of relationship with them. You find out that people are crazy the hard way. So I was in this boxing group, and this fella, Rick Glaser, was in the group. I never heard of him, don't know him. But there was a few people in there. I mean, it was just wild. And people in there crazy, typing in caps, putting up memes. And it was just one big, giant special ed class, to be honest with you. And there was a couple of people in there that made some sense. And he was one of them. He was speaking a sentence, very articulate. So this was at the height of the PBC bringing boxing to free TV. And I noticed, as articulate as he sounded, he says something to me in reference to Al Heyman. And this man told me that the PBC is going to be out of business. I don't remember word for word. All right. Again, I was still new on social media. And I said, well, what makes you say that? And he says, I'm a boxing insider. This is how I know. So I said, well, who are you? Because I never heard of him. And I said that respectfully. Who are you? And he said, I'm in the industry. I've had lunch with Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard. He starts dropping all these names, and he was a matchmaker, and he's an insider. And trust me, the PBC is in the red. They're just throwing money around, and Al Heyman is a crook from the music industry. This is what he told me. And the PBC is in the red. And I remember that much. I don't remember word for word, but this is what he was telling me. And his bottom line was they will be out of business within the next year or so. I said, oh. Now, mind you, I didn't know who I was talking to. I didn't want to call him a liar. All I told him, because listen, I don't know All I know is that Al Heyman, because there was a lot of PBC hatred, but there was that was like when Eddie Hearn was coming around slowly, and it was Top Rank, and we was in the midst of almost getting Floyd versus Manny, and there was still a lot of that arguing going on online, and it was right before they signed to fight each other, and in the midst, I'm having this conversation with this guy, and I was respectful. I didn't say, yo, you're lying or whatever. I just said, well, look, I don't know you to call you a liar. We'll see. Because for all I know, he could be telling the truth. You might be who you say you are. I said, look, I don't know. We'll see. I remember that was around the same time Danny Garcia. No. That was around the same time Sean Porter fought Keith Thurman. We got that on free TV. And the PBC was really making some good moves. And I said, look, this is a good thing. This is what I remember watching free fights on Channel 2, Channel 7, Channel 4 up here in New York. So I said, look, man, we'll see. Now, I eventually left the group, but I kept seeing this man's name pop up. And every time I saw his name pop up, he's talking bad about the PBC. And all I saw was the PBC giving us free fights. And then at one point, then Eddie Hearn comes through with the DAZN app, and this was a little later on. And I forget his feelings on the DAZN app. I forget about that. In fact, I don't recall what he said about DAZN or whatever have you. But what I do know is he was very negative towards Al Heyman. I said, I'm trying really hard not to call this guy a racist, because this guy is on Al Heyman's bumper. I do recall a couple of people in the group asking him, yo, do you know Al Heyman? Did he do something to you? Did he rip you off out of some money? Or did you have a business relationship that turned sour? Because you're really on his bumper. And he maintained that his problem with Al Heyman was just through #boxing, like he says in all of his posts. And I said, oh, well, whatever, man. That was 2014. We're now going into 2024. The PBC's still around. Now, let me be very clear. I know people are going to listen to this and say, hey, man, but the PBC's not perfect. I never said they're perfect. What I'm talking about is this man's integrity. The man told me that the PBC's in the red and guaranteed me that they will be out of business within the next couple of years. In between that, meaning that was 2014. We're talking about 2015, 2016. Never happened. We're in 2024. The PBC's still around. There was also, if you guys remember, way before the pandemic, there was rumors that the PBC was up for sale. Do you remember that? It was very vague. And I'm like, man, where did these rumors come from? And every time I turn around, I'm not on Twitter, but I see this man's comments and they're never positive. I'm sorry. They're only positive for people who are on the wrong side of the spectrum. He has everything negative to say. This man called Al Heyman a criminal from the music industry. Meanwhile, this is a tweet that he had back in 2022 in reference to a man by the name of Daniel Kinahan. If you don't know who he is, there's his name. Type it in the Google search engine and be amazed. This is what he said. I lost some followers today because of my support of Daniel Kinahan's presence in boxing. And I will continue to support all those that are assets to the betterment of the sport and business of professional boxing. And no, he used the wrong no. This tweet is not getting deleted. That was April 12th of 2022. Let me just give you a brief background of who Daniel Kinahan is. Daniel Kinahan is an Irish cartel gang leader, and he's still at large. After this tweet, he done been to Dubai with Mauricio Suleiman and all these other boxing big heads. This guy's great friends with Tyson Fury, and he put this up here. And around the same time, United States of America put a $5 million bounty on Daniel Kinahan's head. The man is still at large. Okay? Mauricio Suleiman went down to Dubai to see what kind of business Daniel Kinahan was talking about. told us, I'm not the police, I'm not Interpol, I'm judging Daniel Kinahan based off of what he's doing now moving forward. Later on that week, America put a $5 million bounty on his head. Mauricio Suleiman leaves Dubai with his tail between his legs and has to apologize to the fans. Bob Arum, same thing. And he started cooperating with the U.S. government. This guy, Rick Glaser, is wishing him a happy birthday on his birthday. Google it. Google it. Google his name. I got it up right now. When I put Rick Glaser, first of all, when I put the name in, you know how Google finishes your sentences? It said Rick Glaser. I put Rick Glaser boxing. The first thing that popped up was criminal record. I said, wow. So I just clicked on it to see what's going on. It says, watch this, Sunday World. Look, controversial boxing promoter Rick Glaser, they have him listed as a boxing promoter, wishes mob boss Daniel Kinahan a happy birthday. Mob boss turns 35. This was back in June of 2022. So it doesn't matter if the United States of America puts a $5 million on an Irish cartel leader's head. Rick Glaser doesn't care. By the way, Daniel Kinahan is the former head of, you remember a boxing promotion called MTK Global? When I was in Vegas, I saw NTK Global shirts all around the way. They have vanished. Why? Because of his involvement with Daniel Kinahan. And mind you, that man is still at large. Rick Glaser is wishing him a happy birthday. Now, why am I harping on this so much? I'm trying to help you guys understand who we're dealing with here. This is something else he said. Now, let me talk to you knuckle dragging monkeys. Here he is talking about Keyshawn Davis. This was back in May of 2022. Keyshawn, you can and will be a great fighter. All the earmarks are there, but you need a new hairstylist. Your hair is a mess. Hashtag boxing. Keyshawn is undefeated. He's doing his thing. And why are you giving this black king, this young black king, an under-minded compliment? Yeah, you're great, but get a new hairstylist. Okay, this man is commenting on this young man's looks. So I'm not lying on this man. I'm letting you know. Now let me go back to the Google. Okay, Rick Glaser, criminal record. Do you know he's a criminal? Okay, back in the day, back in 2014, he also hinted that the FBI was investigating Al Heyman. This guy has been everywhere. And nothing has been positive. Nothing has been positive. You can Google him. He also has a criminal record. I think he was a car salesman, and he was turning back the mileage meter on his cars and selling them. You could Google that on your own time. I think his son also had legal issues. But listen, I don't need to go there. You can do your own research on Rick Glaser. But I'm just showing you guys the type of person he is. So after Devin Haney and Regis Prograis had their blockbuster event at the Chase, San Francisco, sold out. Even Regis' team said they were sold out. Right? I had people on the floor. They were there. They said, yo, it was sold out. No cap. Ryan Garcia, a couple of weeks prior, they only opened up half the arena for him. Right? And he's the one that did 1.5 pay-per-view purchases, right? With Tank. Comes right back and does that. Was this fight even on pay-per-view? Okay, I rest my case. But Regis and Haney did very well. And in the last couple of days, I've heard, you see the trolls popping up in all comment sections. They only did 50,000. I'm like, that's strange. Now, I didn't say anything. And I'm just looking because, again, I don't know if it would be true. Really didn't care. But I said, It's time to do some research. You know, I use Google for what it's for. So I said, well, where did they seeing this? So I go to the Zone. I didn't see anything. And then I thought, you know, the Zone never released numbers. When Canelo was there, I don't recall them releasing any numbers. So where they getting this from? So again, me not wanting to call people liars and go back and forth, because I don't want to go back and forth with anybody because being that it's true. So I said, well, who released it? Did someone from the Zone leak it or what? And when you go to online and put in Haney versus Regis 50K, do you know what comes up? It says boxing scene, right? But it's not an actual article. You know what it is? It leads you to this tweet right here. And guess who said it? You guessed it, Rick Glaser. Look what he says. The real Haney pro-grade pay-per-view numbers is the low 50,000 on the Zone pay-per-view. My pre-fight number over under was 65,000. We all know privacy is a big problem, but it also had a horrible undercard, and holiday season pay-per-views have never do good. This I'm reading how it's written, have never do good numbers in the US. Remember, Benavidez Andrade barely broke 60,000, and that was on pay-per-view on cable. Let's see what the December 23rd pay-per-view does from Ryder, Saudi Arabia. Of course, he hopes that fails. So I said, wow. This can't be. Where's he getting this from? So I looked and I said, man, he started this. Rick Glaser started this. This is your source? Hashtag boxing. This is your source? This is where you get it from? Again, another quick Rick Glaser story, family. This is a guy, and I'm not on Twitter, thank God, but I have more than enough of my boys on Twitter, and they said, man, look what this fool said today. Do y'all remember when Ryan Garcia lost to Tank Davis, stopped? And you remember Ryan Garcia on the stage with his parents, and shout out to his parents. And the first thing we noticed was there was no Oscar De La Hoya, there was no Bernard Hopkins. I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. Tank showed up, they gave each other a pound, they took a picture, and that was the end of it. But I was like, you know, weird, that was kind of wrong to leave that kid out there like that, man. Had he had won, they'd have been there. So I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, I wonder where the hell they went. Well, I saw a tweet where people were asking on Twitter, where's Oscar and where's Bernard? This guy, Rick Glaser, was on Twitter saying they had to leave the event early because they, meaning B-Hop and Oscar, had dinner reservations. And people were like, wait a minute, Rick. You mean to tell me that their dinner reservations were more important than standing by and consoling your number one product on Golden Boy? Rick's response was, and I wish I had the tweets. Rick's response was, I'm giving you facts. And I read that and I said, oh my God, this can't be real. I believe, shout out to my brother Artman, because he's where I get the majority of these tweets from. He screenshots them and puts them on Instagram. And I said, wait a minute. Is he for real? He got to be trolling. But this is one of those guys, you can't tell him anything. He's like a boxing narcissist. He knows everything. You've been there, he's done that. Hashtag boxing. And I said, wait a minute. No. Well, a couple of days later, Oscar gets on his social media and says, no, we left because we was getting death threats and everything else. And look, man, I don't know that to be, true. I don't. I'm a YouTuber. I get death threats all the time. Drew, you better not show up to this fight. Or look, I go to fights. I'm outside. It's gonna be what's gonna be. I'm living my life, man. Don't get yourself murdered over trolling. It's ridiculous. I'm not here for that. But again, I'm sharing that story to let you know what kind of person he is. And here he is again with I looked and I looked and I looked. Do your own research, family. Now, the only other thing that I saw, other than it comes up as boxing scene, right? It comes up as boxing scene. And it led me to this. And then it led me to another site where a guy by the name of, I'm dropping names, Robert Siegel on Boxing News 24. Robert Siegel, Segal. Okay. He's regurgitating what this man says. You can go read it for yourself. He said that the word is they're getting $50,000. I mean, I'm sorry, 50,000. Only 50,000 pay-per-view buys. It underpromised, and Devin Haney's a marketing scheme. So that guy, Robert Siegel, is obviously out of his mind. But hey, Robert, if this is your source, you need to check the fruit on the tree, man. That's not journalism, my friend. As a matter of fact, let me see if I could pull up the actual article. I'm looking at on the Google. It says Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis pay-per-view buys expected to sell over 100,000 pay-per-view buys. Okay, so I'm on Boxing News 24, and let me read this to you. It's by Robert Siegel. Haney Prograis fizzles. DAZN pay-per-view flops as boxing enters a holiday lull. And you can read it yourself. It's on Boxing News 24, right? Let me read. Devin Haney's fight with Regis Prograis reportedly brought in a dreadfully poor 50,000 buys on DAZN pay-per-view, nowhere near the projected huge numbers that some had believed it would bring. Okay, so he goes on to say it is unclear whether the terrible numbers resulted from the piracy or fans saving their money for the holiday season. The real problem was twofold. Okay, he's saying that Haney and Prograis wasn't pay-per-view worthy. That is ridiculous because they sold out the chase. And then he talked about the horrible undercard. That's up to opinion. But my thing is this: he says here, obviously the 50,000 pay-per-view numbers will hurt Haney's chances to lure Tank to fight him. All right, I'm just going through this. I'm just reading the bullet points. Basically, this article was made to crap on Devin, and right at the bottom you see Rick Glaser. This is his source. If Haney, look, it says right here, if Haney wants to show fans that he's not a fake fighter, he needs to take on quality guys like Boots Ennis, Crawford, Spence, Matias, Benavidez, and Janibek to show that he's for real. Obviously, this guy. Oh my God! You know what? No, family. I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this. Look at this. You think I'm BSing you? No, I'm not. Let me read this to you again. Okay? And this is written by a man. His name is Robert Siegel. And he says right here, if Haney wants to show fans that he's not a fake fighter, he needs to take on quality guys like Boots Ennis, Crawford, Spence, Matias, Benavidez, and Janibek to show that he's for real. So they got Haney in the ring with all these killers. The only name that makes sense is Matias. This man really said Benavidez. You're reading it right there. I am putting this link in the mother effing description. Because if I just read it to you without showing it to you, you wouldn't have believed it. So this guy, Seagal, do you think he knows boxing? So not only does he look stupid in this last sentence of this article, but look at his source. Rick Glaser? Rick Glaser? That's the tweet right there. That's the tweet right there. That's his source. Did he check the fruit on the tree? Does he know that he's a criminal? Wait a minute, that's irrelevant. But, Rick, he's talking about the FBI's investigating Al, and Al's a criminal from the music industry. Meanwhile, this guy's worked with everyone from Michael Jackson to Drake. But Al's a criminal? Has Al ever been to prison? No, Rick has. But we're talking hashtag boxing though, right? Okay, so let's talk some boxing. Rick, where did you get 50,000 pay-per-view buys from? While you're at it, Rick, can you tell me what Canelo Alvarez did the whole time he was on DAZN? His last pay-per-view event on DAZN, what were the numbers? Let me see if I could find it. Let's do this. Canelo versus, I don't know, Ryder. Numbers. I'm doing this on the fly. Okay. What is that? It says a report. Why is it not giving me what I want? It says Alvarez could bank 33 million with over 500 pay-per-view buys. That's what it says. Wait a minute, was that even on DAZN? I forget. DAZN numbers. Everything is, they're not, okay, I had to be more clear. DAZN has not released numbers. DAZN does not release their numbers. If you can find exact numbers of what they've done, have they ever released it? You let me know in the chat. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. So to this fool, Robert Seagal, if Rick Glaser is your plug, you have no power, my man. Get a new plug, because that one is short-circuited. It's shorted out, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the lie came from. Rick Glaser, and to you monkeys running around just to degrade Bill and Devin, you monkeys, you porch monkeys, you knuckle-dragging apes. This guy. This is the lie that you're throwing up. Do your own research. Go to DAZN and see if you can get the number from them. You let this man come in here just because, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, just because he's a white man who knows some people, got a few phone numbers, has a little history in there. You let him come in there and just lie to you guys. You just let him lie. This guy's a liar. You say Al Heyman's name to him, he might burst into flames. You say Al Heyman, it's like putting a cross on a vampire's forehead. He'll just explode. This motherfucker will legitimately turn into Ghost Rider right in front of you. This is who you're listening to. And Seagal wrote a whole article based off of this tweet. Are you kidding me? And then that same guy, because people will go to Boxing News 24 and say, see, this is it. This is the person. They're saying it here on the website. And then you scroll down, and that same guy got him in a ring with Boots and Benavidez and Crawford and Spence. They got Devin Haney in the ring with Benavidez, Boots, Spence, and Crawford. The only name he got right was Matias. Yeah, I think I'm done here. You knuckle draggers. This man is in bed with an Irish cartel leader who's still at large. That Irish cartel leader has a $5 million bounty on his head. He's still at large. And this guy is his good friend. And this guy's been running around, crapping on Al Heyman, talking negative about black fighters. There you see right there about Keyshawn Davis. And this is your plug? Give me a break. I think we're done here. You take that $50,000 hoopla, turn it sideways, and pound it up your mother's royal arse. Lightweight, easy work. Ross on deck.
Move!